howdy there, pipe pals and gals. It is I, the Holy Smoking Pipe Padre, coming back at you again. I think the camera's over on this side now. Okay, go. Yep. Well, I'm smoking one of my favorite pipes. You know, some of you don't like this pipe. It's what I affectionately call my squashed tomato. My squashed tomato. Yeah, kind of maybe like a little bit of a alien craft flying through the air. You know, let's see, get that kind of going there. Okay. All right. Well, holy moly, smoking pipe Padre coming back at you again with the November video. Yeah, I know I just came out with a Halloween-y video a couple of days ago, kinda, sorta. Today's the 7th. And I'm smoking that maple leaf from Boswell's. Okay, so I also got some autumnal coffee here. So I thought I would do something I normally don't do. Or let me rephrase it. I don't do it like I used to. And that is box openings. A lot of YouTubers, people like myself, YouTube content creators, do box openings. You know, now mostly you would probably see maybe a nice box opening in my history. If you go through my queue, my older videos when I was much younger, you know, we're talking kind of early Devonian period here. I actually opened up a couple of nice boxes of pipes. Yeah. Boy, that's good. Man, I love autumn because it is the perfect, for me. Now, you can answer this in the comments below if you want, but I think it's the perfect pipe smoking weather. I mean, fall, you know, we just turned the clocks back this morning. Oh, delicious. Now, I mean, okay, confession time here. Let me fortify myself just for a moment. Okay. But can we be honest? Let's be honest here. And I know some people, they don't like the time change. Now, for almost all my adult life, I just never, ever liked moving ahead an hour. I just never got into that. Hated it. But in the last 7 years, I'll say, maybe I was kind of psyching myself out to say it wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad. It's okay. You know, extra hour of daylight, you know, more time to do things outside, all that good stuff, you know, exercise, maybe for you gardeners out there, you know, maybe working on your nuclear fission backyard project, maybe for those people like that extra daylight. But anyway, I really, yeah, I got to say, this morning was absolutely wonderful. And I didn't go to bed early last night. That's the problem. I get so excited. We got all these things going on in our parish. For example, we just got these beautiful icons. I'm going to roll some B footage of that in the church. And I absolutely love them. You know, I just tell you, they just feel like God and the Blessed Mother are welcoming you home. You know, welcome you into the church. I just love it. And those came up. Those went up last Wednesday, as along with our beautiful restored, our 100-plus-year-old Stations of the Cross. And if I can find an old picture of what they used to look like and what they look like now, again, night and day, just beautiful, beautiful. So this weekend, I knew a lot of people were going to come into that church, and for many of them, it was going to be a little bit of a sensory overload, because they're going to be going like, whoa, 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 what's all this? What's going on here? Oh, wow, look at that, look at that, you know. And so I was kind of excited, and I actually, when I looked at the clock, now I had changed some of my clocks ahead to match up for this morning, so I wouldn't oversleep. Or undersleep. Well, undersleep. I wouldn't, you know, I'd get up in time for Mass. And anyway, so, but I probably went to bed about, well, I said, okay, the old clock said 1 o'clock, which meant it went back, you know, to midnight, basically. You get your hour back. And again, I was already going kind of manic, a little bit manic there, because I just was like, wow, what are people going to think? Are they going to like these renovations that we're doing? You know, are they going to receive them? Are they going to be angry? You know, some people were happy, some people weren't. That's just life, I know, but it's just sad when people get upset. And this one person got very upset, and they basically said, I don't like these icons. You know, I said, well, I'm sorry, you know, and they were upset. So again, I don't know what their issues are, but they didn't like them. So, but anyway, but I was kind of thinking that there's going to be mostly, you know, some positive, some negative, and most people, probably one third walked in there and never even saw anything. You know, that's the sad thing. You know, they walked in and walked out and didn't even recognize anything. So that's the real tragedy, I think. But anyway, that's another topic, another story for another time. But anyway, so I know that last night, according to the old time, it was like almost like 1 in the morning, because I was tossing and turning, and when I got up to use the facilities and I looked at that, I said, oh gosh, it's later than I thought. And then I realized, no, what, you get the hour back. And the wonderful thing was that when I woke up this morning, I didn't wake up groggy and tired. I said, hey, I feel pretty good. Even though I probably got maybe 5 hours of sleep. I felt great. I mean, it's like, I don't know what it is. My circadian rhythms are better suited for this time change than the spring one. Now, like I said, in about the last 7-8 years, when, you know, when some of you saw me lose all the weight the first time, and I started kind of like trying to psych myself out and say, yeah, but now you can go out for runs more and walks more in the evening, and it's going to be great, you know. So, you know, enjoy the benefit of that extra hour. But I got to tell you, my natural circadian rhythms just really, now in the last 2 or 3 years, it hasn't been as bad. Now, I will be honest, it hasn't been as bad. It hasn't been like, oh boy, I lost an hour of sleep. It's not like that. But it's like, I can handle this. This is no big deal. No problem. I can do it. But I don't, like today, when I woke up and I said, oh, and I looked at the clock and I go, oh, I got another hour I can sleep. So I went, turned back over. I took another hour nap or whatever, went back to sleep for another hour. And it was delicious. It was wonderful. I woke up feeling actually pretty good. I mean, refreshed almost. Like, you know, I thought, oh, I'm going to lose. I'm losing, you know, and I thought, oh, well, it's going to be terrible. And because I usually like to, on this time change, I like to kind of take advantage of it and go to bed about 10 o'clock and go to sleep by about 11, so I get a really good night's sleep, which normally I do, unless I get a phone call in the middle of the night, which sometimes has happened. There's been times where I've done that. You know, it's happened when I was other parishes, you know, the hospital calls, and you go, gotta go, gotta turn out. So there anyway. But I mean, again, just saying that the beauty of getting an hour back for sleep is just absolutely wonderful. I love it. So anyway, but like I said, I was just a little nervous about the reception of these icons and these Stations of the Cross, and so there you go. Now, I was going to say something in regard to all that about, you know, I'm kind of doing a Joe Biden here. I'm kind of like going, what was I going to say now? You know, let's go, Brandon. That's right. No, just kidding. See, maybe I should start selling merch, you know, have my own Holy Smoking Pipe Padre, you know, brand of merch, you know, coffee cups and T-shirts and, you know, I don't know. I'd have to figure out something, you know. But there, you know, that's how a lot of us. That's how well. I don't monetize either this channel or my other channel, but I do. You know. What do I do? I make pipe videos. Yeah. Oh, I was going to talk about going back to the original, starting the original, you know, thing that started this all off about box openings, and so I did, you know, some box openings, whether it was pipes or maybe like doodads, like, you know, lighters. Maybe I can't remember if I ever did an actual lighter one. I think I talked a lot about, you know. Well, actually, come to think of it, I kind of did do a box opening. I've done a couple of box recently. Actually, you know, people have sent me things, nice people, and I think Matt and Jeff were the guys that sent me a couple of things last year, and hopefully I showed proper, you know, gratitude by doing those box openings, because I enjoyed it. I did enjoy those pipes and those tobaccos, and you know, their well wishes. That was very thoughtful. But I guess I did do a kind of a semi-box opening with this Boswell's package that I ordered last year, and I finally started opening it up. Why is that upside down? Anyway, is that backwards? Yeah. Yeah, and this video is weird. I don't know what's going on with it. But anyway, Boswell's little autumnal pack there, and I got it last year, and had some samples in there, and I think that was nice. Again, the maple leaf is part of that sample, which I've been enjoying. So, yeah. So anyway, so I don't normally do box openings. I mean, commercial, I guess maybe when I say commercial, like, you know, like getting a Fallon pipe. I think it was like one of my very first box openings many years ago. And I think I did a couple of Dunhill openings. You know, I think I did a Zodiac pipe opening, and my very first, you know, cherry wood Dunhill, which I still have to this day. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And then maybe, anyway, so I've had, you know, numerous, and then I think I kind of ventured out, which I'm going to do tonight a little bit, you know, tech, because if you're going to be a YouTube content creator like yours truly, you got to have the gear to do it with. And so for me, that's sometimes an iPhone camera, a GoPro camera, and the video editing suite to create the videos once you begin to edit them in your timeline, in your non-linear editor, i.e. Photoshop. Sometimes Photoshop, yeah, for thumbnails. And but for video editing, I use Final Cut Pro. And in order to use the latest and the greatest, and yes, I have to be honest with you, but first of all, I guess I'll just go with the train of thought that I have before it gets derailed. Yeah, the Apple in the last year, and many of you know I have been trying for this year to go completely Apple free, no Apple products whatsoever. Well, a few weeks ago, I kind of caved in. I kind of said, okay. I felt like I was a year behind, and Apple, many of you, if you're Apple people and you're into the Apple ecosystem, you know what I'm going to say next, is they made this light speed jump into the M1 SoCs, the chip on a system on a chip. That's what SoC is, a system on a chip. The new M1 class of processors. And everything from the MacBook Air to the 24-inch iMac, and now to this box opening, which I'll do in just a moment. You know, these new M1 class chipsets that, well, they do actually kind of, they're light years, well, I wouldn't say light years, but they are phenomenally faster and more efficient than the old Intel chips that I've been running for the last, several years. And I tried to maybe once every year get a Apple product, whether it's a new iMac or maybe a new MacBook Pro or maybe a new iPad. But the last few years, now this is part of Apple's kind of problem, is they do build things to last. And if you know that you can get by with what you have, you just got to say, hey, I don't need this newest and greatest, because it's not that big of an increase. It's not that big of a deal, really. But when the M1 chips came out last year, I kind of waited and waited and waited, and I said, it's just all hype, But then some people that I kind of trusted kind of started saying, they really have improved these products light years. I mean, these are new. They're better. They're far superior than the old Intel Macs. And so I have to say that I kind of got a little weak in the knees, and I finally kind of caved, and I went out and did a little bit of splurging. And I'll be paying for it for the next few months, that's for sure. But the thing is that I did get the new 24-inch iMac, and then I did a video of that just a few weeks ago, and I really love that little machine. I got to tell you, it leapfrogs what it was. When I bought an Apple 21-inch iMac, about 10 years ago, and I finally gave it to a friend of mine. They kind of were resentful because they said, that's a slow machine, and I went, yeah, I kind of know that. I felt kind of guilty because I thought I'm giving them this, look at me, I'm giving you this iMac, and it was sort of like, thanks, but no thanks, It's like, well, what have I ever done to you to deserve this? And so I finally gave them another one, and they were like going, well, yeah, that one's a lot better, thanks. And I said, yeah, I know that other one was kind of a dog. But it was, a 10-year-old machine, and it was one of their entry-level iMacs, and it just wasn't that good. And but this newer one, the 24-inch iMac that I made one of my videos on not too long ago, it does just about everything that $5,000 iMac Pro that I got 2 years ago, now going on 3 years, does. Doesn't have any problems with it at all. Now, I shoot 4K videos. This is going to be a 1080p for the most part, but you can throw 4K video at it and put some effects on it, and it doesn't have any real problems. I mean, it may skip a few frames, no big deal. If you really had to, like in the old Intel Macs, you could go to proxy mode and still be fine. No problems at all. But these little M1 Macs, they're like little donkeys. They just take a lot of abuse, and they don't really complain hardly at all, if anything, So they really have come a long ways, and it's really fun to see where the technology is today and where it's going. So the other thing was, I thought, well, I always have an iMac, kind of an iMac Pro type of a rig, a desktop, and I have a MacBook Pro. And so I thought, well, as much as I really don't want to do this, I better. And one of the reasons why is, and I'm not recording this video. The last one I did, my Halloween special. Hope you guys liked that one. I had fun making it. It's in cinematic mode, and it's only 1080p. But because it's high definition, 10-bit. And if I lost you there, I'm sorry. Even I don't know what I'm talking about, to be honest with you. But the thing is, it's high resolution, and so on normal screens that are 8-bit, they don't play that without you having to do some magic to get it to work. And you can do it in the software, but it's, you got to do some flipping of, you got to do some creative stuff to get it to where it recognizes the video so you can process it. Apparently, with this brand new, this is the M1 Max MacBook Pro. It's the highest level. Now, even though it's the highest level, it's the base highest level. So you could spend another $2,500 to spec it out, and then you get, it just becomes this monster, A little late for that, but anyway, it's monster, Halloween. But anyway, but the base, the base one for me it's always been fine, and I remember. This gets me back to my box opening tonight, as I remember. Now, again, there's been certain products in the Mac line that are very magical. Okay, I think the very first one was the very first one that I got. It was given to me as a gift, and that was absolutely magical. Started off the whole thing. Still got that machine, by the way, and it still works for the most part. Now, I don't think it would edit any kind of video like this. without, spending a couple of months doing it, processing it. Hey, oh, how's that video going? Oh, it's been 2 weeks now. It's doing pretty good. It's almost halfway done. But anyway, that little iMac which is a wonderful little machine. It's kind of started my whole journey into the world of Apple and iMacs and MacBook Pros and all those things. And so, I've had a couple of, I like the Apple products, and there's been, along the way, there's been little touchstones where some of those products have been, do I dare say it, magical. Magical. And I think the very first time I opened my very first MacBook Pro back in, I think, 2011, that's when they first came out with their really high definition retina displays, really, like, whoa, look how crystal clear this display is. So I remember that just was a very special machine. That was very, very magical. I've had several MacBooks since then, not so much magical, more just kind of practical and, utilitarian. Here's another MacBook. Oh, I'm going to use it to make videos. There we go. Boom. But this one here, as I'm opening it up, and I'm just going to show you, I'm just, I've been listening to a lot of people that, again, that I kind of trust and kind of think that are, have integrity. They're not going to try to just hawk products because they get a kickback on it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. But 90%, if not more, of the YouTube content creators that I follow, and I can say religiously. You just see what I did there? Yeah. But anyway, most of them, if not all of them, have pretty much overwhelmingly said this is the bomb. This is the machine, So, and I thought, well, maybe I should go ahead and bite the bullet and make the investment because, and again, if this had just been a regular Apple year with Intel chips, I wouldn't have, I already got a pretty good one already that does okay. I noticed it doesn't do everything that I thought it was going to do, the one I got last year. It's nice. It's competent. It will do most of what I throw at it, but it has hiccups. And then the thing is thermal throttling. Maybe some of you have heard this thing about thermal throttling. It's kind of like your pipe overheating, pipes overheat. I guess we all know that. Ouch. Thermal throttling. Got a little thermal throttling on the old finger there. Yeah, kind of got a little thermal throttling on that finger. Ow. Little spark jumped up out of the bowl and landed on my finger, and that didn't feel good. Ouch. So, getting back to the thermal throttling, the thing is that the doggone thing will just, the fans will scream at you like a banshee, And then the performance begins to kind of, precipitously drop, and then it just kind of, I wouldn't say it comes to a complete screeching halt, but the processor's overloaded, and it can only do so much with what it has, and it has to slow down and has to take a breath. It's like me, going up the stairs. I have to take, I take a couple of steps and, stop, and then I take a few more, and then I stop, and then you know how it is when you get to be my age. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought I'd do a little box opening. I'm not going to do the kind of the official one. I'm just putting it in the background as you watch. I just kind of had fun opening the box and kind of pulling it out and checking it out. And I just got it. I did my migration assistant program where you just take your old one and migrate that computer to this one, and it only took about maybe an hour, if that, and Bob's your uncle, Sally's your aunt. You're done. It's good. So the next time I do an HDR 10-bit, process video, I'm going to put it on that machine, and apparently I don't have to do any razzmatazz or any little incantations to get it to work. Because what happens when you put it on an older iMac or a screen, it won't register the new high definition video. It looks like it's all washed out. And those of you who process 10-bit video know what I'm talking about. I think you, Richard T., if you're watching anymore, you know, you're a tech guy. You know what I'm talking about. Maybe even old, what's his name? That crazy guy from New Hampshire. Is it New Hampshire? Old, doing a Joe Biden again. Gentleman scholar, Gary. The Christmas card man. Christmas card time, Gary. Where's my Christmas card? Okay. Gary makes creative Christmas cards. That's what I like about Gary. They're always, maybe you may not, you have to appreciate him. He's alternative. He's Mr. Alternative music, Mr. Alternative science fiction. He's just alternative guy, you know. So if you know, he's not really mainstream. He's kind of a little bit, you know, he's like, you know, center. He's kind of off a little bit this way, but it's very entertaining. But he makes these really intriguing Christmas cards, and every year, you know, I look forward to my Gap Christmas card. So, Gary, if you're watching, waiting for that Christmas card, okay? I know we got a few weeks to go, but hey, get them out there now while the time's good, because, you know, your post office only can, you know, do so much with the time that it's given, okay? I gotta say, this is really good. Yeah, that is good. I really like it. And again, I don't know why some of you are just so, I don't know. Every time I smoke this pipe, I get like 3 or 4 comments. I don't like that pipe. I don't think that, I don't like the shape of it. I don't like the look of it. Okay, fine. Be that way. It's a free country. Still, maybe. So anyway, maybe in the background I'm still doing the little box opening of my new M1 Max MacBook Pro. Say that fast 5 times. And apparently it's just, you know, it's the M1 chip, but it's like quadrupled or whatever they do to make it faster and bigger and badder for processing. And then the other things that Apple kind of did. Now I got to be honest. Okay, the problem with the Intel Macs, and I know some of you are already really getting tired of this, and I'll stop it in just a minute. But they've been having, Mac laptops, just by their very nature, overheat. I mean, you got this little teeny tiny space with all this hot, burning electronics inside. Of course it's going to get hot, you know, duh, right? But the thing is that I've noticed that, okay, in the last several years, Apple's been trying to make the laptops thinner and 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 thinner, okay? And when you do that, all you're doing is you're just encasing all that heat. And so if you have fans, the fans, you know, run and scream, and, you know, it's just, especially if you're trying to do a recording on the machine, that's why most people just, you know, they don't like those fan noises, because they ruin your audio, right? Which is true, they do. And so I noticed though this year, and they're saying, oh yeah, Apple's kind of fixed that thermal throttling and the overheating issues that it's had in the last several years. Well, I kind of noticed that, again, on one hand, last year's model, it just feels really solid, you know, just super solid. And this year's model, you know, I was expecting it to be, because it's a little bit thicker and chunkier, and I thought, okay, this thing's going to be a tank. Well, it kind of looks like it's really thick and chunky, but you tap the bottom of it and it's hollow. No one's talked about this. Maybe I should be the first YouTuber to talk about this interesting conundrum. Well, it's not conundrum, it's not a problem really, but it just feels like, and I think what they did was, and somebody I think I heard them mention saying that, yeah, they have kind of increased that body chassis to have more airflow through it. And so instead of it feeling solid, you know, when you pick something up and there's a bit of an air gap in there somewhere, you can feel it real easy. And you're going, what's this? Because there's like a little bit of, again, it kind of takes away from the what's the word, quality feel to a lot of these products. You know, you think, man, that's really well built. That's quality, you know, that's a premium product. this almost has a little bit of a plasticky feel. I know it's not plastic, but it just feels a little bit plasticky. And I'm kind of going, oh my gosh, I spent all this money and this thing doesn't really have a really nice premium feel to it. It just kind of feels kind of like a, something that, I mean, we'll see how it holds up. Again, I have no problems. I can't point to a single Apple product that has fallen apart on me. That's kind of maybe the problem. They last forever, which is, you buy one of these things and you say, well, it still kind of works. And if you're doing just basic stuff, this is still a perfectly good machine. I mean, for like surfing the internet, maybe doing word processing, maybe if you're into accounting, it would be just a really nice, still essentially almost brand new. I mean, I have different workstations. Those of you who know me know I do have different workstations, and I do different things. Like if I'm doing specialized, like little graphics that are highly intensive for video rendering, and I know it's going to take maybe minutes, maybe even an hour to, I know some of this seems a little bit like that's too much of a waste of a time. But, again, you're doing a lot of graphic intense processing, and some of these programs just really take an awful lot of your computer's graphic capability, and they just strangle it. It's like, we're not going to give you what you want when you want it. We'll do it when we're ready, and so you just have to say, well, I'm going to hit the button and let it render out, and it may take 45 minutes just for a little 30-second video clip. When you're doing that introduction that I did, HHHP, this Halloween special, it looked like I was kind of like in a Dracula castle or something, that one. Yeah, I think that took about an hour, maybe 2 hours to render that out, and that's only 30 seconds long. But that's the nature of video editing sometimes, So then what I do is I'll shoot other things like the B-roll stuff, and then I'll do the main video here on the old iPhone or the GoPro. If I'm outside, sometimes I like doing GoPro because I like the outdoor, especially when the sun's shining or there's lots of light out there. GoPro, I like their color profile. I know some people don't, but I do, okay? So there you go. So anyway, but I just thought I'd share that little box opening with you. The new iMac, I don't do many box openings, and I know it's not like a tobacco pipe related box opening. But again, as I've said before, we use a lot of technology to make these videos. And I know a lot of you use a lot of good video equipment, and you do high quality stuff. There are some guys that really do really professional grade videos, and but they use good products. And I don't know if they're Adobe Premiere people or After Effects people or DaVinci Resolve people, or they use Microsoft iMovie. I mean, there's probably a few people that still use iMovie. I'm not ragging on iMovie. It's just not iMovie, but Windows Movie Maker. Sorry. Well, even iMovies. Well, iMovie and Windows Movie Maker are kind of the same kind of like they're the low tier of video editors. But I learned on Windows Movie Maker. I mean, back in the day. And then I graduated to iMovie and then Final Cut Pro. So you got to start somewhere, I mean, so if you're producing content, all I can say is God bless you. If you're really out there and you're just, some people just use their phone. Some people use just maybe even a little camcorder these days. Some people can still use those. And again, as long as you're making content, I think that's the entry. That's your ticket to YouTube content creators, and whether you're doing it for your own personal business or whatever your interests are, and you're striving to make content, well, I think most of us salute you. It's like, hey, what I don't like, and I know I've said this before, and some people don't like me saying this, but if you're just somebody that's a troller and commenting, I know some people are going to say, but I'm not a content creator. I just like to watch the videos. And that's fine. That's great. But I kind of think, it's sort of like voting, If you want a bellyache and complain about the election and you tell me you didn't vote, to me, I'm sorry. You don't really have a gripe coming, But if you're a content creator and and you put out content, Even if you think it's not good or not high quality or professional, but you're still making the effort, I salute you. You know, I say, hey, you're part of the club. You're there. But if you're just making comments, and I mean, some people can make nice comments, and that's okay. But I'm talking about the trolls out there, and I don't want to get on. This is not meant to be a video about trolls, because I've already done that before, and hey, I try not to feed the trolls out there. And you know, again, most people that come to my channels, either my religious one, my homily one, or this one, I'd say 95% are just absolutely the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. There's a few people that don't like what I say, or don't like the way I comb my hair, what little I have left. You know, they don't like the pipes for some reason. Hey, that's okay. It's a free country. I don't care. You know. But what I don't like is somebody who just kind of hides behind a fake little. You know, they don't even have the decency to have a little avatar or anything. They just make up some, you know, bogus, you know, channel name, and so they can snipe at people. Well, anybody can do that. So, but it takes somebody special that say, I want to make something creative. I want to do something creative. So if you're one of those people, and you know, hey, more power to you. You know, so that's why I share the tech videos from time to time. So let me get on to one last little topic that I've been thinking about talking about and sharing with you all, and asking what your opinions are. There's a YouTuber, and I like him. He and his wife, they're a cute little couple, and I think he used to go by the name of Wheezy Waiter. Wheezy Waiter. And I think they live in Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota, one of those three states, because they're always talking about how cold it is up there. and so anyway, but he has an interesting channel, and so in I guess there's a kind of I would call the health genre. you know, a lot of times people are on, what is it, Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is, Twitter or Tweety or something like that. And, you know, they have these little challenges, and some of them are quite dangerous, like, you know, the Tide Pod eating thing, you know, and again, that's extremely dangerous, especially if you don't pair it with a really good fine wine. You know, if you have a nice fine wine, then it's okay, But if you're just chowing down on those things, you know, and you're not, you're not seasoning them properly or cooking them properly, yeah, you can get really sick on those things. But anyway, so they have these crazy contests, you know, with a teaspoon of cinnamon and the Tide and thing and the ice bucket stuff. Now, some of those things had they were trying to do maybe a community outreach for a better cause and that kind of stuff. I don't have problems with that. But those are kind of like fad things, and sometimes they're silly and they don't really have a lot of meaning, and sometimes people get hurt, and so. But what I'm talking about is the health. How do we call it? Just the people that are interested in health, and they try these different things, like maybe, for example, you know, going on a vegan diet for a period of time, or maybe taking cold showers for a period of time, or maybe cutting out carbs for a period of time, or, you know, trying to reduce their dependency on technology for a period of time, you know. So anyway, this guy and his wife, they're, like I said, they're a very cute couple, and the guy's very entertaining, and he's quite a wordsmith in many ways. Very, very fun to watch and listen to. But I just noticed that, you know, a lot of the things that he's done, and he does it like for a month, you know, walking for a month, or working out for a month, or giving up coffee for a month. You know, and I started saying, well, you know, I've done a lot of those things.
2 cups of coffee every morning.
Believe it or not.
1 cup.
And, you know, and I thought, you know, maybe I just quickly kind of comment on my successes and failures in some of those things. And have they benefited me? Because I'd say about 5 of those categories that he's actually done, I've done. And I think he does it for like a month. Now, granted, that's not really a long time. It can be enough time to where you can begin to see the beginnings of some positive results, like weight loss, you know. If you are consistent on a new diet and you do that for 30 days without, cheating or binging, and all that, you will see a little bit of a marked improvement. You'll maybe see 3 to 5 pounds lost. I mean, real weight loss. You might start feeling better. Some of the, a lot of people now are, another big one is elimination diets, get rid of, kind of just get a real simple diet, maybe nothing more than just meat and vegetables. Try that for a month and see how you feel, Giving up sugar for a whole month, complete no sugar. Do that for a whole month. And so I noticed that, I said, well, some of these videos I'll run along in this queue and I'll go, oh, yeah, give up coffee, give up sugar, exercise, walk for 30 minutes every day for a month. I've done that. So a lot of these I've actually done over the years. And to the extent that I've been consistent, yeah, I can say I experienced positive results doing some of those things. What the real trick is, one, can you somehow consolidate all those good, healthy habits into one package and do them for, say, a year? What would happen? Giving up sugar for a year, walking 30 minutes a day for a year, giving up, I give up coffee for Lent, and I've done it now for 5 years. This will be 6 years coming up this new year in 2022. And I have to say, do I notice some positive benefits from giving up coffee? And I would say, honestly, yes. But the emotional comfort that I get from my cup of coffee, pardon me, excuse me just a minute. Speaking of which. It balances out. For example, I'd say the positive things when I don't drink coffee during Lent. I noticed that I probably sleep better over the night because I'm not getting up to use the bathroom as much. Also, my adrenals are kind of more calm, so I do actually sleep better. And I feel, which I think sometimes gets kind of played down a little bit, is having the discipline to go through the withdrawals, because it hurts. Now, I have a couple of tricks that help, and there's some other things that I might even try this year that might help reduce the caffeine withdrawals. Might be a nice thing to try that. But over and all, having that kind of a bit of a character commitment to say, no, I've started this, I'm going to see it through. I think that's an important thing. It's character building. I guess I'll just say something like that, character building. So that's an important thing to have, Giving up sugar, oh my gosh, we had Halloween, last week? Today's Sunday, right? Yeah, today is Sunday, so last Sunday was Halloween. And we never get trick-or-treaters. I mean, the last 10 years, maybe I had a few in Chico, but for the most part, the last 7 years, not really. The kids don't come anymore. There aren't any kids anymore, I'm afraid. I think some aliens have come down and taken what kids remain and taken them away to some planet. Because you don't see kids anymore. At least I don't. I don't see kids anymore. It's kind of creepy. It's almost like one of those Rod Serling Twilight Zones, You go into a neighborhood and say, slow down, drive like your kid lives here. But there are no kids anywhere. Where did they go? So, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, I know. Cue the Twilight Zone music. But giving up sugar, and I have to say that even though I got the sugar, the candy for the kids, and I had it in the bowl, and I'm a big sugaraholic, and since COVID, I haven't had really that many cravings for sugar, but then it just kind of hit me like wouldn't say like a ton of bricks, but it was kind of like, hey, sugar, yeah. And I kind of thought, part of me says, I'd like to have a Tootsie Roll, or I'd like to have a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, But then I said, yeah, but I know where that leads me. I know where it takes me, and I don't know if I want to go back there. kind of like drinking. You know, I know where it goes. I know where it leads. I know where it ends up, and it never ends up in a good place. Never has, never will. So sugar's kind of the same thing. Yeah, you don't get a DUI for eating sugar, and you don't, have to take a breathalyzer test, but it does mess up your body. It just, sugar is very toxic to us, and I have to be really careful with it. So it's better that I just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. So I was just thinking about all these things, taking a cold shower. Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, for the last 2 years, I do that every morning now. It's crazy. I know. It's just part of my life now. It's just part of my routine. Now, there are two ways of doing it. The first one is, you just turn the water on cold and you stand in that water and you face it and you get it over with. The other one's a little bit more gentle. You start off with your regular shower and then you turn it all the way to cold, and that's not fun either. But for me, that just seems to be the easiest method. Now I do both. The primary method I do is the latter one. I just do the cleaning off, and then as a final rinse, I just turn it to cold and I stand there for about a minute or so, and I just okay, we're done. But every now and then, just to kind of re-challenge myself and to remind me, that's probably the harder one is, to just turn it on cold and just stand right in there. Go right in there. Do it. I call it the Navy SEAL kind of thing. It's just, get in there and do it. A couple weeks ago when it was down in the 30s, I went for a nice walk. I think it was 34 degrees, and just in my little, short sleeve shirt, that's it. There was a little bit of frost on the ground and everything. And I think I have a thyroid issue because I kind of was figuring it all out. I think I have a hyperthyroid, and I never realized that, but I think that's what I got. And so I'm really sensitive to heat, but cold, I do cold really pretty well. And so I can be out there in 34 degrees, and it's not a problem for me. I mean, I kind of find it refreshing. Crazy, I know, but it's true. So I went for this walk, and it was around 34, and it was getting pretty frosty, and I was out there for about an hour, and I came back, and I said, I wonder if I got in the cold water right now, what would it feel like? And the water felt warm. And that water, ice cold water, but it felt warm. So that should tell you something. But anyway, so those are things that I've done, but I haven't really put them all together and been consistent. Walking 30 miles, walking, did I say 30 miles the first time? 30 minutes every day for a year. I've done that a couple of times. Now, the problem is that if you stay there, you're not going to really benefit. I mean, you'll benefit some, don't get me wrong. It's good discipline to get into doing that. But what happens is your body begins to adapt and say, well, I need more now. 30 minutes was good. Now I need 45 minutes, or now I need an hour. Now I need 90 minutes, to really get that benefit of the breathing and the oxygenation, all that good stuff, And so your body adapts, and then it kind of needs more, you need to increase your level of exercise and intensity. So I do that now. But I remember thinking, well, and when I think back on it 78 years ago when I lost all that weight the first time, I was probably doing most of those things on a regular basis, and I did it for over a year. And I think that, again, it shows that when you cut down your sugar and your carbs, you exercise every day, and you're consistent. Hadn't started taking the cold showers yet. That came a couple years later. But it'd be nice to see this new year, as we get closer and closer to the new year, kind of say, well, maybe it's the time to put it all together and see what happens. Not just doing it for a month, but trying to do it for a year. Now that I've found some good, realistic ways of working these issues out in my life, there's a reasonable chance of success for that. Because you have to be, the key is consistency in anything. So if you're consistent, you're going to see the results. So that's what I'm trying to do now is develop and cultivate that consistency, because that's, for me, that seems to be where the fruit, you begin to see the fruit, okay? And that comes, whether it's in your physical life, your spiritual life, your relationships, But if you say, okay, I'm going to do this, and a lot of times when people get confused, they get bogged down with all this information. I think this one person said, what is the very best exercise for losing weight? Is it push-ups? Is it jogging? Is it walking? Is it stair climber? What is it? And the guy says, it's the one that you do. And that's true. Find something that works for you and then work it and be consistent about it. And if you do that, you will like I remember I was saying, now if some of you have been following me for the last couple of months know that I've had COVID and I'm pretty much done with that. And as a result, my diet has changed for the better, and I have started exercising again for the last 6-7 weeks. I've been very consistent every day except Sundays, day of rest, But I've been trying to walk at least 6 miles every day. I've even started kind of doing the push-ups again, and even, believe it or not, the chin-ups and the pull-ups. Not to the consistency, not to the level that I had, say, 7 years ago, but if I'm consistent, I know that it took me, when I look back on it now, I said, okay, when did I really start seeing the dramatic results that this was working? And I said, it was about 6-7 months. For about 4 or 5 months, it was like, well, I think it's working. And then all of a sudden, you see, it's almost like it kind of goes like this. It kind of goes, like this. And then all of a sudden, it goes like that. So it's kind of this really gradual, climb. But then all of a sudden, when it all begins to kick in, you get that J-curve kind of effect. You go, whoa! But your body is ready for that metamorphosis or that change because you've been consistent for a lengthy period of time. So then it all kind of like just comes together. It's like, it's like a house. When you start building a house, it's a big mess. Oh man, trying to, getting the foundation down and then the framing but once, there's a point where all of a sudden, instead of it looking like a project, now it looks like a house, a home, But it takes time. But you got to be patient and you got to be consistent. So anyway, if you get a chance to watch this guy, his name is Wheezy Waiter or Wheezy, he changed his name again to Wheezy something. Wheezy Videos, maybe, I don't know. But he's an interesting guy. I think his name is Craig. I think that's his first name. And his wife's name is China, but cute as a button she is. Well, they're both cute together. And but he just has these really interesting videos, and they're very thought-provoking. And again, I guess I relate to him because I said, I've done that. Oh, I've done that. I've even tried that. Yeah, I've done this for a while, So anyway, so maybe you might want to give him a look-see, okay? Okay, so been going kind of long here. That's my normal Holy Smoking Pipe Padre type video. The last one was a little on the short side. So, as I close, I'll just ask you all a question right there for the video. So, as I said earlier, autumn, fall, this time of year, when the hours, the daylight hours get shorter and the night gets longer and gets colder, and all those good things. So, do you find that you smoke more of your pipe than normal, and if you do, do you have favorite blends? Do you have like special autumn blends? Now, I used to have a blend called Autumnal Blend. I used to have that. And I think I'll spend this week trying to go find it. I still have certain things that are still packed away in boxes. I just found a couple of my little trinkets that I haven't seen in about a couple of years, and I said, whatever happened to my little Sherlock Holmes collection? I had these little, I forgot what their name is. There's a company that makes these little figurines. I'm sure some of you have seen them before, and they're little Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson, and Professor Moriarty. And I said, I used to have these up everywhere I've gone from my seminary days. And I thought, oh gosh, maybe I lost them. Maybe I gave them away. I don't know. And so I have about 12, maybe 16 boxes of my trinkets, some still pipe tobacco stuff. I still haven't unpacked all that. And still, I found, lads and lassies, some pirate cake last week, lads and lassies. So we'll have to do a pirate cake video. But anyway, so, but I found them, and so I put them up here, as you can see, the little B-roll there running again in the background. And so, you know, little things like that. And, so if you have a favorite pipe tobacco during this time of year, you know, maybe you could say, yeah, whatever it is. I think some people definitely would have a fall blend that they used to smoke, and then they'd have a springtime blend they would smoke. I think, was it Orlick Slice or something like that was one person, you know, just raved about Orlick Slice, you know, for the springtime. They just thought that was the best pipe tobacco you could smoke on a spring evening. And I thought, well, okay. I tried it, and I had to say, yeah, I think they're right. You know, it was light, and there was a little bit of a fruitiness to it. Ooh, I'm getting a cramp. Ooh. I've been sitting here for almost an hour. Okay, so thanks for watching, dear Pipe Pals, and we'll hopefully see you in the next one. And so again, as I like to say, as you all know, let's say it together, light up your world, light up your pipe. Have a nice evening. God bless.